This
Back.
conference will now be recorded.
So, how is everybody? Good?
Preparing to go back out in the woods tomorrow or to Friday, Saturday.
Yeah. So, it looks like Rich, it looks like I saw your thing on. I don't know if you're trying to talk. I don't think you're muted. It was picking up some sort of signal, but anybody feel free to jump in if
Sorry, I thought I had it muted. Nope, we're all
oh yeah,
good.
you're fine. So,
Okay, so got a question about Lightburn. See if you're up on it.
I'm not, but go for it.
Somebody's got to be. There's got to be a way for this. What is that? Lead in.
Hmm.
You turn it off. You use the same thing. Pull up something else, and it's constantly on. It just
Hmm.
won't shut off.
If you have it on in a layer and you've been using that layer and saving it in your files and you open that file in Lightburn and then open another file, it'll keep that profile of that palette of those layers. What I mean is, let me see if
Yep, I
this
see what
is
you're.
better. You see what I mean? If you have a Lightburn file that has some settings in it and you have another file open and it has good stuff, whether you get the Lightburn file from someone else or whatever, what is up with that? Uh, what are you talking about? What I'm doing?
Oh, God.
I told you I'm medicated. Leave me alone. But if you import a Lightburn file into Lightburn, it'll bring in just the design elements, not the settings. If you open a Lightburn file, no matter where you get it, if Jim sends you a Lightburn file and he's got settings all jacked up in there, you open it, that applies to your palette. When you go open another job, or start a new one, it could have those settings retained. Does that make
Okay, so
sense?
import instead of open to
If you have
prevent
a
that.
Yeah, or yeah, I don't think Lightburn's just arbitrarily kicking on lead in is what I mean. Uh, And it's kind of weird how that kind of works. And it may be. I don't know. Are you on the latest version? The
Yes, and
1.31,
even
there's that.
yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah,
mine
but
says
then there's also the
import files
anomaly,
on open
the
to keep from
anomaly
deleting.
where like step settings get set back to default 360. That has to be written to the machine. It's always questionable, like how does that happen? But it looks like Lightburn does manage backups of machine settings too. So I don't know. So with that, I'm guessing you got burned by a lead-in somewhere.
Over and over and over again
Yeah.
on
Sometimes
3
they're so
different
small.
files opened constantly.
And
Even
today
when you
was
do the
not the first day. It happens, I hate to say regularly, but yeah, and it doesn't matter. I go in, I turn it off, I delete all the values, all of the angle, the distance, everything, make sure it's all turned off again. And then the next file, I go to do it and I look and I'm like, crap, it's
I know
doing
what
it
the
Have
again.
problem is. I know what the problem is.
what?
Okay.
It's a Mac.
You're
That's
welcome to
I
just
buy
like
me a
something Myers
computer.
would say.
so he's not necessarily wrong here. Um, what about defaults? Lightburn does offer an opportunity to have defaults and using those set up. I don't use them, but I think you
I don't
also have
even
to
know. I have no clue about defaults. I've never used them.
okay, I don't use them either.
So I don't even know where they would be.
I mean, it's in all that layer setup, the same little prompt up at the top near speed, you can select the default, and then down at the bottom, it's got the buttons that, hey, make this my default, reset it to default, all that kind of stuff. So that, say you were particularly using the same exact wood cut
Yeah,
settings or whatever, you could always, click the easy button to go back to default.
yes, I did that one time and it screwed up all kinds of stuff and I said
Hmm.
never again.
Oh, was
Now,
that when
would
it
that
sent the 130 file to the boss
Or no,
70-watt machine?
it
And
was running even though whatever I clicked default, it was running everything at like 100% power and I was blowing through leatherette on
the old
no, on
the
the
flasks.
flasks. So it was a Not cheap mistake.
Library? Do you have a library set up that you use?
Um,
Like a materials library that I'm
I
asking,
sort of use
and
it. I
and
sometimes.
not sure if this does this, Chris. The library retain those set up a layer and have lead in on entry, because now the library be bound, you know, so that all the library entry for you can change the entry and it changes on all those programs that it's with. Could it be something
Yeah,
like that?
the library does maintain those.
So
You can save that sub layers, all that stuff looks.
it,
Well, I guess not sub layers, but you
yeah,
can actually do all that other stuff
it
and
is as
sub
if
layers.
you somehow lead in got turned on and 12 of your files are using those libraries and they're bound to that entry. That's a global set. You change it's a change throughout every file that's using that library. So I wonder if lead-in's getting turned on that way. Link, I think, you can link it from the library and then I think you can't make settings changes. If you were doing that. If you're using entry globally like that, you wouldn't be able to change power because that you'd have to change it. So if you're you're there in the cut settings in the fields and
Is Brian's audio cutting out for everybody else?
Thank you, because I'm sitting here looking at my stuff going, what's going on here?
it's doing that again
Yeah,
like
you sound like kind of
regularly.
robotic. Yeah, zapping in and out like you're hitting a bug zapper.
Yeah, I had the crash.
I thought your computer was on medicine too.
Might be on like a size 10 shoe kicked to the side. I guess does anybody actually use the link function in Lightburn for the material library? I'm afraid to click it.
What the hell
Link
is the link function?
link function.
It looks like you can link your settings. I don't know if you link it to layers. I don't use it. I hardly use the library to begin with. I use it mostly for reference if I'm doing something new. But it looks like you can link it to stuff.
I had a nice library set up at one point in time until one of the Lightburn updates happened, and I lost my entire library, and even the backup was gone. And I said, "Yep, never again."
I mean, that would have been it deleting that file off your computer though, unless it just
Some
saved it and wiped it.
I did figuring that's what happened because I completely lost it, and I was like,
Wow.
"Well, I ain't wasting my time on that ever again."
Yeah, I keep all my cards literally right here at the computer for both machines. So I reference those a lot. Like I just generically use blue as my engrave wood type materials color layer. So I have to constantly change it. Same with red is my generic wood cut.
Yeah, I'm not that structured where I pick a color as each thing. It's whatever I was drawing in, whatever layer I selected. I just then adapt my settings to and then save it and then copy paste it in something else and bring a bunch of new layers in.
I did just have to take a design and make 3 different cut layers, all the same speed and stuff, because I had to do lead-ins because it was whiteboard and it was leaving marks.
Yep.
But the lead-ins had to go different directions because some were interior cuts and some were exterior cuts. And there was one that was so small, it was just the top of an ornament. I knew there was no way to even bother doing a lead-in on that one. So I had the 3 different colors. That's what screwed everything up, was because I had to make those darn ornaments.
Yeah, Legion's definitely an advanced feature. Takes a lot of time to set it up, especially if you got inside versus outside shapes, small shapes. It can be
Pain in the butt.
very time consuming.
It was. And then my computer, or Lightburn or something blitzed out yesterday where I had created it and I had to recreate it all again today. because I didn't save it like I should have.
You're talking, Brian. We absolutely cannot hear you, if that's what you're wanting to know.
So one thing I've done as well, sometimes on small shapes, instead of trying to laser a circle out, just engraving through it.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, can you see the screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I click this rectangle and I assign this library entry to it, nothing really changes. You just assign it. If I link it, you notice everything grays out. You can't change anything. And what that does is, let's say that you use this library entry on all of your different files, and then your supplier changes wood, and all of a sudden you need to raise your power 20%. Instead of doing it in each file, you go in here and edit this engrave cut, set your power up to 28%, hit OK, and that's a global change. Every file that's linked to that will all change whenever you open them. See that? That's pretty neat. And then if you want to unlink it, you can unlink it so that you can edit the settings again. But if you use link, you can link the library entry, and then later on down the road, you can change just the library entry, and it'll change it globally throughout every program that you have, or every Lightburn file that you have that's linked using the libraries. So that's what I was talking about. But you would know if you were using that, because it would either be cool or it would make you cuss.
Yeah, I probably won't use that because that would not go well for me.
So is Loco underneath storms? Or are they missing him?
He
I
had
don't
some this
know.
morning. He talked about a tornado warning this morning.
Yeah, that southeastern part of the U.S. has just gotten nailed the last 3 days.
Yeah, we just been sopping wet. I mean, you can go stand on the ground and it presses water out.
Oh, it'll change here. Let's say by next. Where are you at?
I'm in East Tennessee, so they're calling for possible snow or ice by Christmas.
Yeah, by
We're supposed to get it tonight.
Thursday, Friday of next week, we're all going to be digging for warm clothes.
Mm.
Really warm
So-
clothes, if it actually does what it's supposed to.
Well, if anybody has any questions, like I said, jump in. And otherwise, I'm going to quit talking because I'm cutting in and out. My throat hurts. So,
Oh,
So, lesson learned, just for y'all as tech support, and I love you guys, you know that. Fantastic. But I learned this morning is never take somebody's word that they know how to do a task. If they show you pictures, I had somebody ask for help, so I'm also trying to assist them, and they don't understand the steps to aligning the beam.
Mhm.
So I think we got that fixed this morning. So hopefully it'll save y'all some headache as well. They kept removing the tape. Every time they would pulse, it was a new piece of tape everywhere.
oh, so you never had anything to reference. Okay, I got you.
Hey,
All right.
we're gonna be on, but we're gonna disappear to take care of something real quick.
Okay. Well, the alignment is an an always present thing. The first one I did on that ULS machine took me 2 weeks. And I broke things. I got mad and threw things and made up new words.
no, you wouldn't do nothing like that.
But and there's no real definitive guide. I mean, it's one of those things that you might know how to build the piano and tune the piano, but playing it is another thing. How do you convey that, whether it's video or documentation or tutorials or talking through it or walking through it? How do you, because there's hundreds of videos out there on how to align your beam, but it gives you the principles, but it doesn't really make it a whole lot easier. I don't know that it can be.
I guess if basically ask the person, have you ever sighted in a rifle?
Yeah. Now
It's the same.
there's
It's literally the exact same principle. I mean,
yeah.
it's
Now
Yeah, but
there's
that also depends on how people learn too. Some people learn
Yeah.
visually. Some people learn,
yeah.
over voice. Some people learn by examples. It
Right.
might not be you. It might not be your instructions. It might be them.
Right. And the other thing is, if we talk about the principles behind it and expand on those, that can be helpful. Like using the red dot. If you're doing an alignment and your red dot's dead on and you get it right the first time and you've been doing it, it's a good, easy way to check your alignment. Or if it's way off, it's a real good, easy way to get it closer so that you can make those granular changes. But I don't like using a red dot, whether it's, and there's different methods. There's the red dot pointer that uses a beam combiner, and it's introduced to the CO2 beam path at 90 degrees, and then follows the rest of the path. Or there's tubes that have red dots built in. That would be the best. I might trust that, provided it was calibrated correctly in the tube, during manufacturing. Because even using a reverse tool, I've seen people talk about that thing where you put the little laser pointer in the head and point it the other direction. That's all fine and dandy, but it's originating in another area, nowhere near the source, and you're pointing toward the source. It's like using a mirror to try to shoot a bullseye or a target behind you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? That's the way I kind of see it.
Well,
Hey,
yeah, and I
Brian.
think
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. To go along with Jim's comment too about sighting in a rifle.
Mhm.
Some people have actually shot themselves cleaning guns. So
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely true.
people have given themselves laser tattoos as well,
Yeah.
accidentally.
Only somebody from California would come up with that analogy.
hey, come on. Everybody was thinking it. I just said it first. So.
Hey,
No, I
that's
wasn't actually
totally
thinking
legit.
it.
So,
I think the big flaw with those reverse alignment tools is you're holding your output location constant where it shouldn't be. The tube can move. That can be part of the alignment as well as actually moving the tube. And if you're shooting the beam backwards, you're saying that this is the exact path, whether it's right, wrong, or different, how the thing was machined, how you inserted it, how you tightened it down. If it's got a little bit of, cockeye there, you're not going to be able to fix that. It's going to come out of mirror 3 and be, whatever that reverse system was. Whereas, when you start at the laser, mirror 1 can kind of accommodate some of that as it bounces over to mirror 2. But to be honest, I won't do an
yeah.
alignment without a
Well,
red dot pointer.
yeah. Well, now on the reverse alignment thing, I've got one for the K40. And
I've
what I
got one.
noticed when you chuck it up, and I think I have one for the Nova also, or made an adapter for it. And when you tighten it up in our head, it's with that flat edge, it's not concentric anymore. It
Yep.
kind of shifts over to the side. So it's
Yep.
immediately not right, you know.
Yep. So I don't like them.
Jim,
I also in the
yeah,
article I put in either you got to have a lot of patience or a lot of blue tape. Pick one or the other.
yeah, or yeah, a little
Blue
bit of
tape's
both.
cheap. It goes a long way.
What was you gonna say, Brian?
And painter's tape ain't cheap either.
No, I was just gonna make you say something, Jim.
Oh, um, I got a deer.
So it's end of year. Who's bought a new toy to save on some taxes? Let's hear about your new toys.
I bought a
I got a
set of
robot.
Save on
I bought
taxes.
I bought a set of binos.
All right.
We're getting ready to buy a new drone because we had a flyaway yesterday.
Ooh, I've had 3 of those, all Phantom 3 and up, and after that, I got out of the drone business. I didn't even renew my 107.
You don't have to renew your one. Oh, wow, you have to do your currency, but
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. You can let that fall, just like my pilot certificate. You can let that fall
Yeah.
off for 5 years, and all you got to do is go out, get a medical, and do a check ride, and you're right back to flying. The same with your 107. You can let it
Yeah.
fall off, and 2, 4, 5 years from now, you can go
Well,
and.
I quit buying drones because I got tired of crashing them. They were mostly flyaways. I'd get too close to a power line or something like that. At least that's what I suspect. Some sort of EFI or EMI going on.
Right.
Man, those new drones, it
Okay,
takes
I
a
like
little
this
effort
group even more now that I know that there's a fellow pilot.
I missed that. It was a little echoey. What did they say?
I said I like this group even more now that I know that there's a fellow pilot in it.
Yeah. I don't get off the ground. I don't get in the water much either. If I was supposed to not be on land, I'd have webbed feet or wings. So I kind of like to stay put.
Oh no, I disagree with you there too. Scuba diving is awesome.
I've never tried that. I have flown, not flown. I don't have my private ticket or anything, but I've, been up a few times and I love it. It's nice. It's neat. I don't like to follow rules and stuff sometimes, so I don't think I'd be very good up in the skies. People would be mad at me.
Oh,
I don't
you
know
have
how
no
to handle
idea.
dealing with, calling in and getting the flight paths and that kind of stuff. I kind of just like
No.
to do things.
Depending on what airspace you're in, Brian, you don't have to talk to anybody. You can go through LAX's airspace and not talk to a single soul.
Yeah.
And that's one of the busiest airports in the world. And you better be good at it. You better know what you're doing. But there's
Right.
a corridor that you can fly through, little box that goes perpendicular to the runway. If the runway goes east and west, this
Mhm.
corridor goes north and south, and you don't have to talk to a single soul.
Mhm.
Yep, flying's fun, dude.
It's cool. I
I've never
think
even
I
been on.
might be already okay at it, like as far as the technical part. Doing the checklist and making sure everything's right. And I would like to try to come out of those stalls and handle some of those issues. I think that would be fun. I think that would, but I don't know. I probably won't ever do it.
I've never even been on a plane.
Come out to Vegas in April. You can have your first experience on a plane and come jaw with us a little bit. You get a little gambling. Hey, you might win enough money. You could buy one of the machines we got there on a demo and take it home with you.
Yeah, my wife she's terrified of even me getting on a plane with her. She's afraid that we'll be arrested by the federal marshals
Oh,
because of me sitting still and keeping my mouth shut for any length of time is almost impossible.
you don't
No,
say.
just when you get on the plane, don't go up to your friend that's first name is Jack and say, "Hi, Jack." They don't like that.
Well, she's worried about me saying, "Is that wing really supposed to be tipped like that or vibrating?" She's like things that I would just say naturally, just for the shits
Yeah.
and giggles. She said would
Well, the
probably get
wings
us
do
arrested.
flex. They're supposed to. If they don't flex, they break and fall off.
So it's like, yeah,
So is anybody gonna go to the what is it, the ISA International Sign
Yeah, Sam and Jamie are
Association
going.
Expo? Sweet, sweet. Grant's not gonna go. I would talk to him yesterday. I couldn't wait because I told him we could, have some fun, and he said he's not going. Of course, it's right when his first child is due.
it's not that
Tell him to
So
get
important.
his priorities in line. He'll have plenty of time to look at that kid.
Yeah, well, I said it's not a big deal. It's just a kid.
yeah.
They'll have
So
another one.
He's not going to bronze that first dirty diaper and, put it up on the wall as a plaque or something. So go to the show. Come on.
First dirty
yeah.
diaper, he's going to be running or puking, one of the two. First one that
Maybe
comes out
not.
green and black, he'll be gone. Eh, what is this? Poor Grant's not even here to defend himself.
But it's recorded for
So
eternity.
it is perpetuity. We use that word a lot when I was doing video stuff, and they had the disclaimers and all the things you had to sign to make sure people could be in it. We got to use their image and likeness in perpetuity. And I never understood why they put that in there. Somebody explained it to me once, but it didn't stick because I don't really care. So, okay, I'll talk about something. We're gonna start January 1 ramping up our e-com system and making it easier to click and order. As it is now, to get optics and accessories, you pretty much have to set an appointment or call somebody or email them, at admin, and then they handle you on a one-on-one personal way, which is great. but some people just want to click a button and run with it. So, and we used to have some lenses like that. The thing is our logistics, we're getting that worked out. The new warehouse is done. We've got space to put stuff. So we're going to start bringing in more inventory so that we can sell power supplies most likely and things like that as we ramp it up. So everything will be available like that, click and order, or it'll also handle the warranty instances too. So we're working on that feverishly in the background, and it's given me hernias
So are you moving to Texas?
and ulcers and everything. No. Of course, Clay's always wanted me to move to Texas. I mean, if I
Why?
didn't have,
I
I
know you
mean,
still
and I
don't
get it,
do that.
but I got too much going on here. It would be hard for me to uproot myself and go. But I think we can handle. We're pretty good at handling everything, remotely, and having a decentralized type system. That's kind of how the tech thing's been from the beginning.
You could just go down and stay in Texas Monday through Friday, come home and visit the kids on the weekends.
I could get my private ticket and fly myself back and forth.
There you go. Just get you a helicopter.
With the Thunderjet. So
Yeah, tell him if he buys you a jet, you'll move down to Texas.
I don't think my family would like that, but I don't know. Everybody's got their price, right?
What do you guys think about buying spare laser tubes to hold on to?
I don't think it's feasible normally because you can get either one from us, and especially since we're ramping up our inventory, that shouldn't be a problem. But we've got third-party vendors here, like in California. Light Object is a certified RISI and SPT reseller, and those are the two tubes that we use. And they can get you a tube in a day or three. You know what I mean? Depending on if you want to expedite or something. If you're getting to the 2-year mark and you're in a production environment, or you have multiple lasers, and that is a known thing, and you're calculating it as a consumable, after a year or a year and a half on a tube, it may be a proactive thing to do to get one. But I wouldn't order one today and let it sit there 2 or 3 years before you think you might need it.
Okay. Well, I mean, we just kind of started ramping up this year. We bought the laser in October last year, and I work for the Air Force, so I'm basically just trying to do a side job for when I retire. And it kind of ramped up this year, which kind of got me concerned because I'm sitting there thinking I get an order for 60 mugs and my tube goes out. I figured I need something on hand, but if you guys can deliver within a few days, that's probably not too bad.
Yeah, it's typically not hard, to get one in a few days. But and again, it depends on the situation. I don't make anything with my lasers. I never have. I didn't get into lasers to use it as something that, to make a product. So I'm more of a hobbyist. So my laser is almost 4 years old, 3 years old, 3.5 years old. Same tube, never aligned it, and it's probably going to last 4 more if it doesn't bleed out or if the gases don't get out of whack.
I mean, for example, look at Travis's 63. 63. That thing's 8 or 9 years old. He's still on the original tube, and he abuses his.
He cut metal with it and everything. Yeah. I don't know. He's probably gone through a tube by now. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
He still hadn't ordered one yet.
Yeah. I only use it about 3 to 4 hours a day, and that's on a busy day generally. So.
Yeah. Well, you're relatively easy on yours compared to some of these guys that run them hard and put them up wet. So.
Right. That's only been November and December. So yeah, outside of Christmas, I'm sure I'll slow way down. So.
That's like Travis's. He's had all 4 of their lasers running 10 to 12 hours a day right now.
Yeah.
They were so backlogged.
And when you get to that point, that's when you say, I might run my laser at 100%. I might run it wide open to get as fast as I possibly can because that's in my ROI. And my tube is considered a consumable. Let's say I burn it up in a year and a half, and go ahead and account for that and build it into your bottom line, just like you would toner or vinyl or any of these other things that you could consider consumables. Even a power supply, I would consider a consumable, even though some people say they replaced their power supply when they replaced their tube. I'd go 2 to 1. I think you can normally get, 10 2 tubes. I don't know. The power supply's been zapping out a little bit here lately, more than usual, unless it's just sheer volume. That's one thing that we need to do is overlap some of our analytics, sales and issues so that we can take that out. So that's something I got to work on. So.
I
So
appreciate it, guys.
this is where I hop on my soapbox. When you're running a business, if your business cannot sustain downtime, you got to have spare parts on hand or spare machine run hours, meaning 2 machines, don't run them 100% full each and make that your business model. Because when one fails, you're going to be 50% production rate, right? So you got to load level your machines and have spares on hand if you cannot sustain shipping delays and stuff like that, or afford to overnight parts. Sounds like Fast and the Furious there, but I think everybody's seeing right now during this Christmas crunch, shipping is not guaranteed. Amazon Prime is telling you 7 days. The post office, I mean, you could play the lottery and have a pretty good shot at getting stuff compared to the post office at this point. So
What are those
definitely,
tubes? What is it, like the 70-watt tubes? What do they generally run? It's for this
five,
Novus, about
but
500,
for a 60 watt or 80 watt or
60
said
watt
7,
Nova 60.
yeah, you're probably in the 500 to 600 range. I don't, something like that, maybe a little less.
Do those
Nova
the,
24. I'm sorry.
the
Yeah,
tubes have a
but
shelf life or not?
they do.
So I
So
thought
that's why you buy from a vendor that is cycling through the tubes versus buying one and putting your storage,
Yeah.
closet and letting it sit for 2 years. You want somebody that's cycling through them and refrigerating them, right, Tommy?
he probably heard that.
Yeah. But yeah, you want to cycle through, but all the other parts, consumables, um, hard to find items, stuff that Amazon's not always going to have. It's good to store one or have
So
a
like
second machine.
outside of tube, because of the situation of long storage is not a good idea. What would you recommend somebody that's kind of starting out as spare parts, belts or what?
Yep. So you can take it as far as belts. Generally, belts fail through fire or crashes. Over extended periods of time of running them, you'll have to replace the belts. So nobody knows or anticipates having a fire, right? Like you don't want that, but if it happens, you can replace it. A couple bucks to have a couple feet of belt sitting on the shelf, just in case that happens one day. But power supply, bearings, mirrors, lens,
Yeah, optics is a big deal.
belting. You could have small components like maybe a relay or two. Then you could take it as far as, do you want to have a spare chiller? I mean, that's kind of a big expense that they're out there. But again, it all
Or a
depends on your
spare motor or
business.
something like that.
Yeah,
Because, things
drivers
do
aren't
go
too
out.
bad.
Drivers aren't too bad. But you'd be surprised, and you shouldn't go by this. You should always be prepared. But I'm always amazed to see that we still get Mars machines. What's the oldest machine we've worked on or that we've had? Like 2014, that very
Yeah,
first Mars
yeah. I want to say I've seen a
and
2012 somewhere.
yeah. And like the bearings, it is a good idea to have bearings. They're cheap. They're what, $5-6 a piece, and you only need 12,
Yeah,
uh,
and it could either be wear and tear or it could be from a head crash. I mean, we had a user hit a dumbbell the other day. We've seen people where they've had the bearing where the little threaded bolt, gets bent up from a
yeah.
crash. So, it only takes a couple seconds and you could be down for weeks.
So do we contact you guys to order something like that?
We
Some of the parts,
have,
yeah.
you can, we do have some pretty extensive documentation and a complete list with a lot of places with links, or at least enough information where you can go do an Amazon search or something for some of it. But a lot of it we've got links on in the knowledge base. There's one for critical spare parts, and the fuzzy search in the knowledge base is also good. Have you checked it out yet? Have you visited the support side and looked at any of the documentation?
I've done it to pull like your material libraries and things like that, but I haven't done it for spare parts or anything.
Gotcha. Yeah, there's an article on critical spare parts and links and information. Pretty much every part in the machine we have a page on. Like for the motors and the drivers, we show the specs and the model and all of that stuff. So it's wide open, you know, so there's a pretty good bit of info out there for that type of thing.
Gives me an idea. I mean, once it gives me that list, I guess it shows you where to get it and so on.
Typically, you know, and some of the information's obscure, like on the, if you're looking for the power supply, for instance, it'll take you to the tube, the non-OEM tube article that has links to tubes, but it'll mention the power supply. It'll be an MYJG100, for instance. And then you can just go search Amazon or CloudRay or whatever for the MYJG100 model, and it'll be the right one. And then there's imagery and all kinds of stuff there, you know, but if you have any questions, of course, yeah, we'll be glad to point you in the right direction. So.
All right. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I forgot I could go in the chat and link that, excuse me, that article for the critical spare parts, since we're talking about it. Let's see.
That'd be cool.
Am I still cutting out, or is it better since I rebooted?
Yeah, whatever you did fixed it.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, I'll paste that in there. That's the one for critical spare parts. And it'll have links to another document, which may link you to another document. Like I said, you know, there's some rabbit holes in here, but eventually you'll get to it. And then if you, like I said, want us to distill it for you, you can, you know, if you have any questions, you can let us know and we'll be glad to help.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I got a deer too this year. Thanks.
Yeah, as I was sitting here, what made me think about it, my deer's head sitting on my laser.
I haven't been hunting since I was like 12. It's been a long time. I've been shooting since then, but not shooting at anything.
That's the.
So.
Oh, nice. Nice. My son shot his first buck this year, and it came out of the woods with a broken leg and a bone sticking out of the side of him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one there, it's my largest Ohio buck, because I haven't done a lot of buck hunting in Ohio. And it was on a untested gun. Brian, you don't mind this, do you, with this being recorded?
I don't know.
Oh.
If somebody has a laser question, they'll have to trump it, but go for it.
I was killing time. But anyways, I never shot a 350 Legend. And I was going to shoot a muzzleloader with my shoulder. My buddy told me I wasn't after he shot it. So he went out and actually bought another 350 Legend. We sighted it in 2 days before season. It only has a 16 or an 18-inch barrel. I fired it twice. And that buck there, I took out, he was walking across the field about 194 yards and I dropped him. So I was impressed with having a short little barreled gun and taking a deer out that far.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. Yeah. So, all right. Well, like I said, if anybody has any questions, fire away. I don't have anything new really. I've had my head stuck in the back end of that e-commerce system most of this month, so I haven't been too aware what's going on. Myers and Loco have been taking the brunt of everything. So.
I look like it.
Nah, I look like it all the time though.
So what's
Brian,
everybody
has anybody reported any issues with slowdown on the 1.3 on framing? I've seen some stuff in the forums being posted, but it seems more often that the people that are complaining are diode users. Have we seen anything like that? Because I haven't. I've downloaded 1.3. I haven't installed it.
I mean, I've been running 1.3 for a little bit from the beta program. It's been pretty good. They released some bug fixes where things like the laser position wouldn't read right, and I noticed that one too. So glad they fixed that. But I haven't had any major issues with using Lightburn 1.3 from a runability standpoint, connection standpoint, quirky files or anything. It's been pretty solid.
Yeah, I'm running it on the
CO2,
Galvo,
so.
but I think I'm still running the beta. I probably need to put that latest revision, that public version out and try it. I haven't messed with it yet. I've just been running on the beta.
I guess yeah, the coolest thing has been the extend space, and some users have noticed it.
mhm,
Having that function work a lot
yeah,
better, how it shows it in the preview, and hopefully that helps people with their production time because they get fooled by thinking fill individually is faster than fill all at once, when most cases it's not. So now that that is being shown, it'll estimate that time a whole lot better.
yeah. And I've seen the flood fill word come up 2 or 3 times in a
Oh
couple of the
man,
groups here lately too. Um, so that's a no-no typically. There are some uses for it on a gantry laser, but that's more for the diode world too. Our lasers, gantries, our heads are so massive that that there's a lot of inertia going on there. Shut up, Jim. Uh,
You started it. I did.
um, it's the medication that I don't like using flood fill. I think it's too taxing on the system. Typically, it likes to go smooth.
I don't think I've ever used it before.
What flood
I
fill?
experimented
Yeah.
with it just once to see what it would do, and yeah, I didn't like how that turned out. It made the font it was weird.
Yeah, it jumps around and stuff, and I don't think there's a whole lot of control over
yeah.
that either. So I like just doing that regular
Yeah, it was not a
X-swing
smooth
raster.
engrave.
Yeah. I dislike it more than I even dislike the rubber band frame in Lightburn. Have you ever rubber band framed
Oh,
a circle in Lightburn? We've had people call and say their machines are broken because it literally sounds like it's falling apart when it does that.
I haven't tried it yet.
Do it. It'll make you wonder what's going on.
all it's doing is a bunch of simplified vector straight moves and drawing a circle like that, and you got a bunch of accelerations and stops, and it's
Yeah.
it's not terrible.
It's drawn a bunch of tiny lines. Well, it sounds
Yeah,
like it's going to fall apart.
it does. It's no worse than dot mode.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But
So,
yeah, the circle frame, the rubber band frame is pretty. I like it a lot though, as far as what it can do.
mhm.
Just knowing what you're gonna do with it.
We'll have one more of these before the year's out or not?
Nope.
We're going to suspend that last one. It's right in between Christmas and New Year's. So we're going to skip.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
We won't
we
see
won't
you again until next year.
we won't even know what everybody got for Christmas. Wow, what a shame.
Well, it'll give our January one a nice chance to have full of content talking about the new year and how our old year's been and what we got for Christmas.
Travis will be lucky to be around by then if things keep going up there the way they are.
Oh, they
Heck,
got a lot of snow up there, didn't they?
Oh, they got 16.4, 16.3, 12, and there's supposedly another. See, 12 was yesterday. 10 will be another today or tomorrow, and then they've got another round coming after that one. Because he kept sending me pictures one night. He's like, "I found my grill. Oh, I found my smoker. I know I've got a hot tub out here somewhere." I mean, they
Man,
are just buried. They're just getting one round after another after another. And I told him, I said, I think it's time you go buy a skid steer because his parking lot, he's got no place else to put snow in the parking lot. He said, if I would
yeah,
have just
no,
bought another Skylift, I'd be thinking about it.
he
no
may try to
thanks.
go out there and try to laser the snow away.
I'm surprised he hadn't yet. Bunch of mirrors out there just hitting the snow.
Speed and power settings, please.
Yeah, I could just see him. I could just see him doing that too, bouncing it out the back door.
Have you ever tried to grave anything that's underwater?
No, I
What
mean
would it
I've
do?
engraved a full liquor bottle.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it would ever get hot enough because the old trick where you can take a plastic bottle and fill
You
it
can
full of
boil it.
water and you can hold the lighter on it for days. And until that
Start.
whole body of water gets hot enough to boil or melt the cup, it won't. or even a styrofoam cup works the same way. Of course, you eventually burn it up, but I don't think you could get as directed as in centralized and accurate as those laser beams are or those pulses. I don't think it would ever get it hot enough to break unless you like solid engrave the whole thing at 100% power. Just did a big square, then it might.
That's like we used to take everybody would take their beer bottles and throw them in the bonfire. We would try to take the glass and play with it as it's doing that. And then we was trying to see how long Mountain Dew bottles would last with water in them like that in the bonfire. And it's amazing how long they last until some idiot decided to put water in a beer bottle and put the cap back on it and threw it in the pit that night. Yeah,
Pop
it was
goes the weasel.
not good. There was shrapnel glass everywhere. Scared the crap out of all of us.
Yeah, you turn into a pressure vessel.
So I didn't think it would do that. I thought it would just blow the top off. It didn't.
What time is it? Oh, we got about 13 more minutes. If anybody has anything, be sure and pipe up. You'd be good. Siemens, Chris, they've got. Did they end up with an Odin? Didn't I see where they were messing with a lens that time?
Yes.
Are they still doing that implementation with their other systems? Is that that whole project?
Yeah, they talked about automating it, right? Doing a little bit of production wherever they have to produce, I guess, a certain file, and then everything just loads up and runs. It'd be
Yeah.
kind of cool if they integrate like a robot.
Yeah, well, see, that's what I was
Opens up
thinking
the
because I
lid,
got
loads it
inputs
in
and
there.
outputs on this thing I've got. I'd like to make it where it'll put a piece of material in the laser and I can engrave it and it'll take it back out and put out a new one. I might do something like that when I get this going because I got to have something to do with it. And they might donate it to a school or let them use it. Or I still want to start a makerspace, but I don't know. I'd like to see. I believe they said they would help document what they did or write a white paper. I think I asked them to write a white paper about what they did when they're done with it. Which there may be some sensitive data. I don't know. It may be proprietary. They may not be able to put a whole lot about exactly what they're doing, or how they implemented it. But it'd be neat to see what they come up with. I'd like to see it work. I'd like to see a video.
Yeah, we had another user too that was talking about writing his own software
Mm-hmm.
to communicate with it outside of them. I mean, all that stuff is available on a wiki if you are capable of doing it. The information is there for the commands you got to write. Don't know how updated it is, but it's out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I don't know if we can say that yet about the controllers since we were talking about Ruida. About them going to a gig next year.
Somebody's let it out somewhere.
Yeah. So.
But that may not be on the model we're using, though.
It may not. Well, I think I saw some chatter about it in our internal stuff, but I don't know when it's going to happen. It may be, the year after next.
I suppose if you're doing like a photo engrave on a Nova 63, that would be handy.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it would be for larger stuff like that. I haven't seen too many people ultimately that just can't use the controller because it just doesn't have enough memory though, because people look and go, oh my gosh, it's only got what, 512 in it? No, 128.
128.
And they go, oh my gosh. And if you're thinking about normal computing, yeah, that's not. But those files, the raw RD file, that format is tiny. I mean, it doesn't take a lot. But if you're right, if you do an image, if you're doing a high res image on a Nova 63,
like I'm talking like full bed size, 24 by 36 or something.
Yeah. I was checking that. Well, I don't have anything left to say. Isn't that strange?
I don't even have anything to say.
That's pretty strange too. I do like how you blurred out your background though. I've got that stuff on mine too, but I don't use it.
It's actually in the GoToMeeting. If you
Mhm.
click on the bottom camera settings and it says blur my background, I just clicked on it this time just for the heck of it to see if it was actually working, because before it screwed up the focal. You couldn't focus on anything. It's actually working pretty good this time.
Mhm.
I've got a question about cutting some half-inch cherry. When I
All
set
right.
it, it didn't cut all the way through. And someone suggested that I defocus it a little bit and set it down so the focus would be deeper in the cut.
Mhm.
And that worked. Is that a standard practice or?
It is. On thicker stuff, you want to focus as close to the center of the substrate as possible instead of on the surface of it. Um, so, for instance, if I'm cutting half-inch on my Nova 35, I use the 2-inch head and I'll focus a millimeter or 2 millimeters away so
Okay.
that I'm 4 or 5 millimeters in. See what I mean? Which is close to halfway, on half-inch, as opposed to staying at that 6 millimeter distance with the 2-inch nozzle. And then you're focusing on the very top of the material. So absolutely. Plus, by moving in closer like that, you're also getting more effect from the air assist because it's closer to the kerf and you're not, it's got a little more direct shot in there. So that can't hurt either.
Well, I cut a box yesterday, 7x7 with 3 sides or no top on it, and it
Mhm.
come out unbelievably well. The first half of it when I had to recut it, but the second one I focused down closer, defocused or whatever toward the center.
Mhm.
I think I had it 2 millimeters off, and
Gotcha.
I was amazed how well it done.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I got a customer pulling up. You all have a good Christmas and a good New Year's.
You too, man. I can't wait to see what you get.
I don't know, probably nothing. We don't usually do gifts between us. It's usually for
Came back to
everybody
you,
else.
Jim. Merry Christmas.
Yep.
See you out here in Vegas.
I don't know if I'll make it or not. Depends.
All right. Have a
Did
good
you
one,
get a
man.
deer last week?
What was that, Danny?
Did you get a deer the other week?
Yeah, I
When
did.
you deer hunting?
What was that?
I thought you were deer hunting. I wondered if you got one.
Yeah, I did. I got a buck.
Good.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, take care. We'll see you next year, I guess.
Will
See you,
do.
Jim.
You guys have a good one.
All right. All right.
Later.
So, Brian,
What's Tom and Lois?
They were with somebody. I think they said
Yes.
that they were nearby and kind of listening, but doing something for a minute, so they stepped out. Sam, did you say something?
yeah, so it's not 2 weeks, but it's 2 more weeks after that for the next meeting, right?
And let me pull up the calendar and make sure. The next
It's
one
not
was
the
going to be on
29th,
the
it's 2 weeks
29th.
after that. Right.
Right. You're right. The 29th is gone. Right. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So the next meeting would be the 29th, but it's 2 weeks after that. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, because
All
we're
right,
going to
cool.
skip that one. So.
Okay.
Well, I don't have anything else. Chris, you got anything? Other than if this
Yeah.
is the last one, I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday and a happy new year and all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
So do we necessarily want to, when we get to January, do we want to do it on the 5th or the 12th? Because we're skipping a little bit. Do we want to reset the
Well,
calendar?
I don't know if we'll,
Because if we go with the 12th, that means it's almost a full month.
I don't know.
Can y'all sustain a full month without us?
I don't like every other week meeting, so don't ask for my vote. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Well, hey, if I'm looking at buying a Thunder or an anything else and I've got a question and we do these things every week, You know, do you guys from the sales department, do they want to wait 2 weeks? Maybe if I had this opportunity and was able to talk to somebody, I'd go, hey, Thunder's the way I want to go right now. But if I got to wait 2 weeks for this meeting, I know what the meeting was supposed to be for and all this other stuff. But,
Yeah.
you know, if we've got questions, I like questions more
Yeah.
immediate
Well,
than waiting 2 weeks. So
So send us an email.
I don't have a problem with with these meetings or these sessions. I think my problem is with I don't want to expend the resources to have to manage it and all of that. So I mean, if we had these every week and they were just informal, impromptu, which is what they've become, just roundtable discussions, water cooler, I'm great with that, and we can have them, every 2 weeks, and we just won't have any structure at all. But I just feel like, you know what I mean? That's kind of the rub with the whole thing. And I understand. I'm sure it's beneficial, and I guess just because it went away from its original roots, that doesn't mean that it's not a good thing, So, but our resources, I wish we had more time to dedicate to do more things like this. I wish we could have a sales one and a support one maybe at some point, and do the things where we go through projects and stuff like that, like we talk about. But man, with everything going on, it's hard to manage all that stuff. We almost need somebody full time to do that kind of stuff alone. So that's
well,
kind
on
of
your
why.
end, Brian, are you the only one that's allowed to open the meeting, or can one of the Chris's or a Grant open the meeting? And this way, the first Thursday of the month is Brian opening the meeting. The the odd and even, whatever you want to call it. The first Thursday is you. The second Thursday is Grant. Third Thursday is you. Fourth is Grant. And then on the weird chance that we have a fifth Friday, well, I guess you get to work 3 times that month. And when you open it, hey, it's still semi a free for all. If it's sales day or sales week, but I've got a question because for some reason one of my mirrors just broke, and that's more technical or whatever, or vice versa. I mean, once the door is open, anybody can ask whatever the heck they want. Are we still recorded?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you want to turn it off or what. So go ahead.